Oh, hello. Oh, lay it down, Steve. What are you playing? Come over here so we can hear you. Yeah, I just can't.
Thank you, dude.
Can we do this song?
Yes. Let's do this song.
Okay.
All right, we'll do it together.
Ready?
We're unplugged. We should do it at the back.
Seriously? It's so loud. Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam
We're gonna take our caps off first on the song. Great. Save it. Save it for the wedding night. I'm sorry. They're all, it's not going to be very exciting. Sorry. It is. No, I haven't. I will look at you. You go, serious? Yeah.
I can't used to playing guitar, so when I'm not playing it,
Just air strum.
do you know what I mean? It like times it for me.
Yes, of course.
And so when I just am hearing
Should I
it,
kick
I'm
you?
like, so
Should I
just
kick you in the eye?
give me something like.
You have to hear it in the music. It's not even there.
I
but
know,
I'll
but
get
I
it for you.
used to just, so just like a.
And I know when there's that little gap now, which is good between the Hebrew part and then that English part before we went right into it. So it's good. We just don't rush into this English part.
We'll hold on G and you can start that part whenever you want.
Okay. And
Yeah.
this for the intro, you are going until G.
No, they're doing a whole thing. They're going through the whole thing. Yeah.
For the
Their
intro,
intro's a
you're playing
whole
G to
thing.
G.
Yeah, but just one time.
That's what I like.
Yeah. Where are you?
Okay, I'll try and that will help.
I'm going to say shalom and come in right away.
No, I know.
Great. Yes. Don't leave me hanging. That does what I want.
Set my stuff aside.
My little friend. But I should look in my phone, which I don't have up here, which is where I texted Lisa. I texted Lisa. Oh, great.
This is going to be up here for $25,000.
Can we have this
It gives us something to do together. Yeah, otherwise, we like very we're like. Otherwise, we're good. What do you like? Just call me. We just yell out logistics at each other. It's just nice to say something that's not about like logistics. Logistics.
I would play with you
Despise my life. I'm getting me up here and complaining all the time. Wait, what song are we doing? That she wants to play. Get it. Do you want to play the Hebrew song you've never heard nor know the words? Do you want to sing it with us right now? Would you like to do it?
Are you gonna do it, Daniel?
No, it's that.
No, because
It's like that Larry David video I
I
sent.
would have to hear it more than I
Where he
heard
said,
it.
you
I
know,
prefer
Should we just get up here and dance and like see what happens? And you just like feel so alive because you're terrified.
It's with the Larry David video where he was like, I was in a Jewish band.
Oh,
we
yeah,
played
yeah,
the,
you
the
said
what was
that.
it? The Gefilte Fish Blues or
I
something.
love that. I love
My back is killing me. It's another song. That I forget the deals with that episode. He like faked that he was married to what's her name, and they like became had son with a very religious family.
What if we switched? I love that.
And I sang.
Oh my god, I love that.
Should we get one? I hate it. Rather than play nothing.
But like when we're playing, are we just gonna like have like a huddle?
We should bust that. I mean, actually, put it in 5 years.
Like, we should think about it.
I think.
Just
Why don't we
three of you in the back? How are we gonna stand? Let's make this.
Should I be first? Oh, look, it's a man. A spouse of high voltage is our spouse. Such a handy. Any spouse of high voltage is our spouse.
That's for CJ. Yes. So we should probably stand a little away from that top.
I know, it's not for YouTube. It's not, I don't think it's going to mess with us. I'm not going to do that.
Like maybe just behind us. Or like
They should be here.
we have 2 more.
No, we're good. This is good.
Do you have an extra copy? All right. Here's another
We'll
one.
share.
Excellent. Is that the set list? That's the
Yes.
I would love it.
Do you want us to autograph it for you?
You said no.
Oh, you guys are all sitting away from me.
No, we're doing the lid. What?
We have access.
Oh.
So why don't you come up here with me? Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Oh, just like with the Sunday morning, let's try it one more time. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. All right, very good. It's Shabbat Shirah. We want to hear you sing those words. So tonight we gather for a truly special and joyous Shabbat. Shabbat Shirah, the Shabbat of songs. This is the Shabbat in which we read Shirat Hayam, the song of the sea, the triumphant melody sung by our ancestors as they crossed the sea of reeds to freedom. It's a moment in our Torah where words are not enough, where our people's overwhelming emotion, their gratitude, their faith, their joy rose up in song. And so it is fitting that we too lift our voices in song tonight, celebrating the power of music to elevate the soul, unite generations, and bring holiness into our midst. Shabbat Shirah reminds us that music is not simply an accompaniment to Jewish life. It is the very heart of our spiritual expression. Just as Miriam led the women in song with timbrels in hand, we come together tonight with many voices, many instruments, and many styles of music. Throughout our service, we'll be inspired by a rich tapestry of sound, choral harmonies, the energy of jazz, the intimacy of folk music, and the vibrancy of high voltage. Our voices will blend across generations as our youth choir and adult choir join together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. And tonight also marks a significant milestone in our community's musical life. We celebrate Paul Caston's 40th year of bringing his incredible talent and dedication, and Wendy Traeger's 20th year of enriching. Through their leadership, they've helped shape the sound that Congregation Shalom emanates, nurturing voices, inspiring prayer, filling our sanctuary with melody and meaning. So Paul and Wendy, we are so grateful for your decades of service. And we're grateful for everyone who has brought us music this year. Thank you to Mark and Wendy Cohen. You can applaud Mark and Wendy Cohen. To Cantor Mimi Rosansky, our youth choir, our adult choir, and high voltage. All right, so one other thing. It is one of the things that is Jewish custom is that when somebody does something really great, we say Yesher Koach. So say Yesher Koach. Or you can go like this, which is a nice way of applauding but not applauding, right? So I also want to welcome our friends and neighbors from the United Methodist Church of Whitefish Bay and Crystal Melby, their youth minister, who is here with us this evening as well. So, all right. So may this Shabbat be one of joy, harmony, and gratitude. May we lift our voices as one, just as our ancestors did, proclaiming our faith, our hope, our love through the timeless and sacred power of song. And so now it is a joy to turn our service over to Cantor Mimi, who's going to lead us in singing Shiru Ladonai, which can be found in your Siddur, your prayer book. That's the blue book that may be in front of you. And we're going to begin on page 13. And just for those of you who don't know, in Hebrew, we read from right to left. So the book is going to open from right to left. So page 13, let's join together in Shiru Ladonai, and let's sing together.
Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru miyom liyom Yeshuato. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shema. Basru miyom liyom Yeshuato. Sapru v'goyim kivodo b'chol ha'amim miflata. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, ay,
Music certainly kindles the fire in our souls. And if you turn back in your Siddur to page 3, you'll find there a reading that we can read together to introduce lighting our Shabbat candles. And let's read it responsively, the first one at the top. As these Shabbat candles give life to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. I think it is only right that Cantor Mimi be the one to kindle our Shabbat candles this evening. And she's brought so much wonderful music to us and such soulful qualities to us over the course of this year. So
Thank you. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. And as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. How good it is to be together. Can we do Hine Matov? Hine Matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov manayim
have a powerful musical legacy here at Congregation Shalom. Not just that we sing the beautiful and wonderful music composed by people from faraway places, but that we have people amidst our community who composed extraordinary music. And so it's meaningful that we are going to be singing the Lecha Dodi that was composed by our own cantor Karen Berman. And so it is a joy now to invite our adult choir to rise. And in your Siddur, you can find Lecha Dodi, the prayer on page 20. Now, Lecha Dodi is a prayer that was written by the mystics in Sfat in Israel. And as the Shabbat would begin, the mystics would walk their way up a snake path to the Ha'ari synagogue, and they would sing this on their way. And as we turn to the final verse, I'll invite you to rise, and you can turn towards the door that you came from, and we bow in both directions, and then you can turn back around and face us. So let's turn to page 20 as we join together in this beautiful Lecha Dodi. You may be seated. So whenever we were talking about you, Mark, when Cantor Berman and I would be in staff meetings, we would always talk about how you represented such depth on the bench of our congregation. And so this year has been absolutely wonderful having you be able to lead us so beautifully in prayer. So it is meaningful that you are going to be leading us this service as well. So we turn to page 26, and let's join together in the singing of Chatzi Kaddish, page 26.
Yitkadal vayitkadah shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yamad yivrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei.
Becha yechon uvyomechon uvchayedecho Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv.
Ve'yimeru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach. Le'olam u'lo me'almaya. Yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach. Vayitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Vayitadar v'yitale, Vayitalal Shemei B'Kudeshah.
Brichu.
Leila min kol birchata v'shirata.
Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran Yalma.
V'yimeru.
Amen. Entrances to holiness are everywhere, and the possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence. We turn now to page 28, and we rise together for the call to worship. We continue reading in the English at the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We continue on page 32 with Ahavat Olam. We've housed extraordinary composers here at Congregation Shalom. I believe Max Janowski was at one time our choir leader here at Congregation Shalom as well. But every generation pushes up against the music of the generations before. And no one had an impact through the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, right up until today, like Debbie Friedman did. And taking on that mantle of trying to bring new music forward into new musical expression into our sanctuary is High Voltage. And they have very quickly formed an extraordinary band of people who have brought wonderful music to our community and are going to continue to as well. And so they are going to lead us now in the watchword of our faith, the Shema, as composed by Debbie Friedman.
Thank you so much, High Voltage. We are going to, in just a moment, first of all, you may be seated. We are going to, in just a moment, hear our first taste this evening of Shirat Hayam, which, of course, is the song that the Israelites and Moses sang after we crossed the Sea of Reeds, and it is also the biblical poem that's the namesake of this Shabbat Shirah. We'll have more to say later on in our service about this poem and what it means, but for now, we'll hear a setting of a brief excerpt from that poem that is so inspiring that it's made its way into just about all of our services, which is, of course, anybody want to say? Mi Chamocha, the prayer Mi Chamocha, exactly. So we will now turn to page 40 in our prayer books, and I would like to invite High Voltage once again to lead us in a rendition of Mi Chamocha. Again, that's on page 40 in your prayer books. We'll continue our service now with the prayer Vishamru, a prayer where we remind ourselves of the importance of observing Shabbat, just as we are all doing this evening, being here with each other on Shabbat. It is so important for us to remember to keep and observe Shabbat that we sing about it even as we're doing it. So please join the choir on page 44 in your prayer books in singing Vishamru.
Shalom.
I would invite you all to please rise now as able and turn to page 46 as we join together in the Amidah, the central prayer of our service, beginning with Adonai Sephatai, page 46.
Adonai Sephatai Tiftach Ufi Agi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, u'Mevi Gula Livnei v'Neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol atah Rav leHoshiach, Mashiv HaRuach u'Morid HaGashem, Mechakel Chayim b'Chesed, Mechayei HaKol b'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim v'Rofei Cholim, u'Matir Asurim, u'Mekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha Baal Gevurot, u'Mido Melach, Melech Meimit u'Machayeh, u'Matzmiach Yeshua, v'Ne'eman atah l'Hachayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei HaKol, atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, u'Kdoshim b'chol yom Yehalalucha Selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. And we turn together to the top of page 55, where we read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. And now we turn to page 57, and we read together at the bottom of that page, You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. I would invite everyone to take just a moment now to think of some things for which you are grateful on this Shabbat. Could be small things, could be big things. Just try to think of 3 maybe specific things for which you are grateful today on this Shabbat. We read together the English at the bottom of page 58, beginning with "For all these things." For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We have a wonderful opportunity in just a moment to hear from our young people, our youth choir, whom I would invite to please come gather in front of Miss Wendy on the bima. So if you're part of the youth choir, you know who you are. Please get up and join us in the front. And it's appropriate, I think, that the choir should be helping to lead us in the prayer that we're about to hear, Shalom Rav, a beautiful prayer of peace. We very much hope that we can leave this world a little bit more peaceful for the next generation, and that perhaps they will be the generation that will manage to establish a more peaceful world for all. So we join together on page 60 for Shalom Rav. Yasher koach to these brave members of our youth choir. We will see them again at the end of the service. For now, I welcome them to go ahead and have a seat. And we, of course, are enjoying so much beauty and fullness and music on this Shabbat. But we know that as much as we may feel a sense of wholeness in this room with one another, not everyone in our community is feeling entirely whole. There are those among us who are in need of healing, whether that be healing of body or mind or spirit. And so we take this opportunity to pray for healing for members of our community. We think especially on this Shabbat of Steve Toplinski, Esther Cohen, Olivia Jane, Linnea Katz-Pettit, Friedlin Veal, Luca Eisenberg, Carol Miller, Shulamit Shira Bat Gittel Yehudit, Jahari Andre King, Fern Drescher, Bruce Sherman, Ezra Kramer, Jane Zeft, William Gleason, Jeff Zemmel, Wendy Pollock, John Holz, Gershon Ben Avraham, Danielle Ben Bruria, Keith Mandel, Carolyn Newman, Kelly Adiniak, Carol Rort Trainer, George Grimm, Patrick Heppy, Gary Elderbrook, Aryeh Ben Yosef Miriam, Dr. Joyce Sanchez, Alan Paley, Mary Jo Werner, Eleanor Varga, Lisa Putterman, Zachariah Yitzchak ben Sima Pesha, the Wallert and Drankowitz family, Stuart Willis, Zachary Galicki, and Scott McLean. And if there's anyone else whom you are thinking of for healing on the Shabbat, I would invite you to hold their name in your hearts as we turn together to page 253 in our prayer books, and we join with Mark and Wendy Cohen in singing Mi Sheberach. Mi Sheberach Avoteinu Mikor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We now take a few moments for silent prayer, Tfilat Halev, the prayer of the heart, after which High Voltage will lead us once again in Oseh Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. They're amazing. We are so fortunate to have such extraordinary music here at Congregation Shalom. Now, there's a striking moment in our tradition, a moment of great victory and triumph when the Israelites have just crossed the Sea of Reeds and the waters have crashed down upon their oppressors, and the Israelites sing out in jubilation, their voices lifted in the great Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea. It's a moment of profound relief, of redemption, of a people stepping into the unknown, but no longer in chains. And yet, our tradition tells us while the Israelites sang, the angels too began to rejoice. But God silenced them, saying, Maaseh yadai tovim bayam va'atem umrim shira. The work of my hands is drowning in the sea, and you sing songs of praise? Yes, the Israelites had been freed. But human beings, God's creations, were dying, even if they were their oppressors. God's words in this moment remind us that even in moments of triumph, we must not lose our empathy. Even when we celebrate justice, we must not lose our humanity. Empathy is a sacred value, one that often feels absent in the world around us. We live in a time when division and cruelty seem to grow unchecked, when the suffering of others can too easily become just another news story, just another headline. But Torah reminds us that our greatest strength is not in our victories, but in our capacity to see and honor the humanity of others. It's fitting then that in just a few moments, Rabbi Abby will chant from the Shirat Hayam, and that we will read from a Torah that carries with it a powerful story of endurance, of resilience, and of the sacred responsibility of memory. Tonight we'll read from one of 2 Holocaust scrolls entrusted to our care. And this particular Torah is over 125 years old, and it comes from Poland. And we tell the story of this Torah scroll each and every time that we have a bar or bat mitzvah, a b mitzvah reading from it. It's a beautifully written scroll, and the work of the scribe was truly at the height of their craft, preserved with the same love and reverence that has safeguarded Torah for generations. But before the Second World War, this Torah belonged to a thriving Jewish community in Poland, a community that gathered each week to pray, to learn, to pass down the sacred words of Torah to the next generation. And among them was a man who studied from this very scroll, who read from it and absorbed its wisdom. And when the Nazis entered into Poland, initiating the Second World War, he knew what was coming. And so he hid the Torah scroll in a safe place, hoping and praying that it might survive even if he did not. And so that man, like so many others, was taken to Auschwitz-Birkenau, where life expectancy was measured in hours or days or weeks. But against all odds, he survived for years, bearing witness to the horrors beyond words. And when he was finally freed, he returned home to find the Torah that he had hidden away, and miraculously it was still there. And for a time, the Torah was used by a tiny remnant of Jews who remained in Warsaw. But as that community dwindled, they made a decision. A Torah is meant to be used. A Torah is not an artifact of the past. It's a living and breathing source of wisdom meant to be read, meant to be learned, meant to be passed down. And so this Torah was sent to the United States, and Congregation Shalom learned about it and brought it here, and it became its home. Every time we read from this Torah, we affirm its purpose. Every time a child or young person carries it in their arms, we fulfill the vision of those who saved it. That Torah will live, that young people will continue to learn and grow in wisdom, that hope and light will continue to shine even in a world that has been seen so much darkness. And so we might ask ourselves, how can we sing tonight in the face of such challenges around the world? How can we sing when we think of brothers and sisters of the past who clung to this Torah scroll and perished in the camps? How can we sing when the world feels like it's burning? Are we not like the angels singing despite God's sensitivity? We sing because our ancestors sang. We sing because those who came before us, even in their darkest moments, refused to let despair have the final word. We sing because Torah compels us to remember not just the suffering, but the strength, and not just the loss, but the life. We sing not to ignore the pain of the world, but to defy it. We sing because to lift our voices in hope is an act of resistance against despair. And we sing because even as the waters closed in behind them, our ancestors knew that the journey was far from over, that the promise of tomorrow was worth carrying forward. And so we sing not as the angels did, distant and removed, but as human beings who understand suffering, who carry its weight, and who insist on meeting it with empathy, with love, and with the unshakable belief that redemption is still possible.
Thank you, Rabbi Noah, for those inspiring words about Shirat Hayam. We've seen this evening that there are so many different musical styles and traditions that we can draw upon to elevate our worship together, and the singing of Shirat Hayam is no exception. We have already heard, of course, one setting of an excerpt from Shirat Hayam this evening, the Micha Mocha. But now I'd like to offer a taste of two more settings, one that is Ashkenazi or Eastern European in origin, and one Sephardi or deriving from the culture of the Jews of Spain and Portugal. As you'll hear, if you know a little bit about Torah trope, the Ashkenazi minhag or custom is to interweave Torah trope with a special melody that's reserved just for Shirat Hayam, whereas Sephardim typically sing the entire poem to a melody that may actually be familiar to you. And though these styles are in some ways quite different, you may notice that the melodies sound a little similar, almost as if they had a common origin, which is almost certainly because they do. This poem is so ancient, and so are the customs surrounding it, that they actually predate the Ashkenazi-Sephardi divide. In fact, I have heard it said that the melodies I'm going to sing can be traced all the way back to the temple in Jerusalem. Though I'm not entirely sure if that's true, but it's a very good story. And in any case, what we can be sure of is that both of the melodies I'm going to sing are very ancient and very beautiful. So I'm going to start by chanting just the first few lines of Shirat Hayam in the Ashkenazi style, and then I'm going to skip ahead to verse 11, which is Micha Mocha, and sing the rest of the poem from Micha Mocha through the end. And if you'd like to follow along in a Hertz Chumash, which I meant to bring up, this is the Hertz Chumash. You may have one by your seat. If you'd like to follow along in this book, we're going to be starting at the bottom of page 270. And after I chant 3 verses, we're going to jump to page 272. And the last thing I want to say is, if it turns out that any of these melodies are familiar to you and you're comfortable joining me, please join me. I believe it's also customary to rise for the recitation of Shirat Hayam. So I would invite you please to rise as able and join me on page 270 in the Hertz Chumash for Shirat Hayam. Az yashir Moshe uvnei Yisrael et hashira hazot ladonai vayomru lemor ashira ladonai ki ga'o ga'a sus v'rocho rama vayam ozi v'zimrat ya vayhili lishua ze'eli va'anvehu Elohei avi va'aram amenhu Adonai ish milchama, Adonai shemo. And now we jump to page 272. Beginning with Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele natita yaminacha tivla emo aretz nachita v'chastecha amzuga alta nehalta ve'ozcha el neve kodshecha shamu amim yirgazun chilachaz yoshve pelashet az nivhalu alufei Edom elei Moav yochazei morad namogu kol yoshvei Chanaan tipol aleihem emata v'fachad bigdol zeroacha yidmu ka'aven ad ya'avor amcha Adonai ad ya'avor amzu kanita tevi emo v'tita emo behar nachalatcha machon l'shivtecha pa'alta Adonai mikdash Adonai konenu yadecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. In this moment of thinking about freedom and the responsibility that accompanies it, while we remain standing, we're going to say some prayers for our community, a prayer for our country, and a prayer for the state of Israel. So we turn in our prayer books to page 258, and let's read together the English beginning at O Guardian at the bottom of the page 258. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen. And now, the Cohens will lead us in a musical rendition of Avinu Shebashamayim, the prayer for the state of Israel, on page 259.
Avinu Shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'Goalo, Arechet Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Ge'ulatenu.
Continue the prayer. Hagen aleha be'avrat chastecha, ufros aleha sukat shlomecha, ushlach orcha va'amitcha l'rasheha, sareha v'yoatzeha, v'taknem be'etza tova milfanecha, v'natata shalom ba'aretz, v'simchat olam liyoshveha, v'nomar, Amen. May God help us to establish peace in the land of Israel and in surrounding lands and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. And together we say, Amen. And just for another moment, we remain standing still as we turn to page 282 in our prayer books for the Aleinu, the prayer in which we are reminded that it is on us, it is Aleinu, to create the perfected world that we wish to see. So please,
and I want to
yes.
call forward Mark and Wendy to open up our doors. And Mark, thank you so much for always leading us so beautifully. Wendy, thank you for seeing that vision of the future in the eyes of our children, as you always have just been an extraordinary source of goodness for our youth choir, for not just at Congregation Shalom, but throughout our entire Jewish community. You bring so much music to their hearts and inspire them to sing. And what greater gift could that possibly be? So let's remain standing as we turn to page 282 for Elenu. You may be seated. One of the beautiful things about gathering together, especially when we have young people here with us, is the opportunity to bless each other. And so I'm going to invite, if you are a young person and your grown-up is here with you, I'd like you to go to your grown-up because they're going to have an opportunity to place their hands upon your head and say special words to you. And also, any person who you are sitting beside for whom you love or care for, if you could place their hands upon their head as well. And you can repeat after me. Yisa Adonai.
Yisa Adonai.
Panav Elecha.
Panav Elecha.
V'yasem Lecha.
Yasem Lecha.
Shalom.
Shalom.
May God always smile upon you.
May God always smile upon you.
And bless you with God's choicest of blessings.
And bless you with God's choicest of blessings.
The blessing of Shalom.
The blessing of Shalom.
And if all of the young people, if you could place your hands upon your grown-ups' heads and repeat after me. You ready? You can still put your hand on your neighbor's head. It's okay. They're young of spirit. May God bless the love between you and me. You say amen.
Amen.
It's good to feel the hands of our loved ones on our heads, especially as we turn to Kaddish Yatom, especially as we turn to the mourner's Kaddish. Because not only do we feel the physical hands of those who are present with us, touching us, and helping to shape our lives, but so too do we think and feel the hands of our loved ones who've come before us, those who passed into life eternal. We know that we are still blessed by them. It's meaningful to call out the name Sharon Rotman on this Shabbat, who passed this morning. Dear member of our congregational choir. She passed on the verge of Shabbat Shirah, speaks to the legacy and the testament to her life and all the beauty that she brought to those who know her. We think of Michael Coughlin also, for whom we mark the period of Shiva. We think of Sybil Savalsky, for whom we mark the period of Shloshim. In addition to those names, so too do we think of those who passed into life eternal in seasons gone by, for whom we mark their yahrzeit on this evening. I want to say that it is particularly meaningful also to see on the yahrzeit list Alfred Leopold Kahn, dear member of our community who brought so much extraordinary music, not only to us and our congregation, but to the world. We think of Gertrude Bobby, Al E. Bander, Alfred David Barnett, Celia Becker, Arlene Bello, Frank Bernstein, Alvin Cogan, Francis Fields, Ethel Gill, Charlotte Glazer, Ben Goodstein, Reuben Gruber, Louis Haber, Jesse Habish, Gladys Herskovitz, Minnie Hoffman, David Jacobs, Irving Kahn, Betty Katz, Ruth Knight Lippert, Lillian Kravitz, Robert Kritzik, Samuel Ladish, Ann Laufer, Edith Lichtig, Eugene R. Labe, Lillian Mazer, Anita Messerman, Misha Citron Moffick, Rose Ottenstein, Trudy Owens, Freema Piddleman, James Padell, Ruth Padell, Anne Reingold, Michael David Resnick, Rex Ruppa, Harlow Ava Sanderson, Felix Sattler, Walter Shapiro, Faye Greenberg Sigmund, Lee Singer, Helene Wallace, Leo Weinstein, Carolyn Lee Wirtz, Joseph Wolfe, Richard S. Wright, Abe Zembrowski, Harry Ziegler. If there are names that should be added to this list or names that should be pronounced differently than I did, please do call those names out loud as I look in your direction. In addition to the names of our loved ones, so too do we think of all those who've died due to war and or terrorism, all those who died in defense of this nation and allied nations' ideals. We think of all those who died in defense of the state of Israel, as well as all those who died, all those innocent victims who died in that terrible war. We think of all those who have died due to the terrible viruses of racism and xenophobia, as well as all those who perished during the Holocaust. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope. The Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, can be found on page 294. That's page 294 in your Siddur. We rise together as a community as we recite these sacred words together. Yit Gadal, Vit Gadash Shmei Rabbah, Bi'alma Divrach Hirutei V'amlich Malchutei, B'chayechon Uvyomechon Uvchaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv V'yamru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mivorach Leolam Ulamei Almaya. Yit Barach V'ishtabach V'it Pa'ar V'it Romam V'it Naseh. V'it Adar V'it Alev V'it Alal Shmei Dekudisha Brichu. Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata. Tush Bechata V'nechemata. Damiran Bi'alma V'yamru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, amen. You may be seated. One of the last pieces of music that Debbie Friedman wrote before she passed was based on the words from our tradition, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. It's a reminder that in our tradition, we always turn from sadness to joy. It's a joy now to call upon our congregational president, Steve Wallace, who's going to step forward and make some announcements on behalf of our congregation and our community. It's always wonderful to share the bima with you, Steve. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi. It's the musical Shabbat, but your special gift is that I will not sing tonight. I know my place. So Shabbat Shalom. Special welcome to our friends from the Methodist Church. We're delighted to have you here to celebrate Shabbat with us. And what a fantastic way to celebrate Shabbat. A special thank you to our adult choir, our youth choirs, Mark and Wendy Cohn, and Cantor Mimi Rosansky, Cantor, and High Voltage. So we're very thrilled that we could celebrate with such wonderful music tonight. On Sunday, February 9th, our early childhood education will meet at 10 a.m. Join us for a special morning of Tu B'Shvat activities that will be facilitated by our own Monica Arnstein. We'll enjoy music, arts and crafts, stories and snacks, and we'll learn a little bit about Tu B'Shvat. On Sunday, February 16th at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, we'll celebrate Tu B'Shvat at the Mitchell Park Domes. We'll take a self-guided tour of the domes and do a scavenger hunt to find the 7 species. Now, these are the 7 agricultural products, 2 grains, 5 fruits, that are listed in the Torah as being special products of the land of Israel. And they were considered to be the only acceptable offerings in the temple. So register online or by calling the office, and please join us. Beginning Friday, February 21st, join us for Shalom Shmooze. It's going to be a casual setting to simply be together, share conversation, and build community. We meet Friday the 21st, and then every Friday thereafter from 11 a.m. to 12. Bring your own coffee and tea. Although as I look at that, I can't believe things are so bad that we can't supply coffee and tea to our guests. So, Ryan, let's make that happen. Saturday, February 22nd, it's family night at Brown Deer Lanes. Join us for a pizza dinner and a lot of fun bowling. Thursday, March 6th at 12 p.m., bring your lunch and join Brian, Avner, and your rabbis for a lunch and learn. This will be the first Thursday of every month. And on March 6th, we'll discuss the recent ceasefire in Israel, the recent developments in Israel, and the prospects, we hope, for a long-lasting peace. Would you like to be popular? Would you like to be changed for the better or changed for good? Well, Congregation Shalom's Purim Carnival is Sunday, March 16th. Save the date and have a wicked good time. Mazel Tov and Simon Tov to Roger Karp, who was named the 2025 Levy Family Jewish Educator of the Year Award. That's by the Coalition for Jewish Learning. Our 5th graders are especially fortunate to learn with the wonderful Roger Karp as their teacher, and so are we, to have Roger as a member of our Shalom family. Mazel Tov, Roger. Thank you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steve. We're going to conclude our service now, beginning with Kiddush. I would invite you all to please rise as Mark Cohen leads us in Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagaf en
It's on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikdaye kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim Shabbat Kodshecha Ve'ahava uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Amen.
L'chaim. It is my great pleasure to invite our youth choir to come back up again. Come on back up, guys, and help lead us in our closing song this evening. We will return, as we often do, to the theme of peace, and we'll join together in Oseh Shalom.
Ben Keen's Oseh Shalom, who's a member of our congregation.
Ben Keen's Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom.
Keep singing, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.